Biggest mistake an agent makes today is chasing a commission instead of treating a client like a family member. And anytime somebody wanted to buy a house or buy a car, they reached out to me and said, can you speak on my behalf? So I did it for a while, and then I realized I should start getting paid for that. Everything has happened organically and naturally. We didn't have a set number that we were looking to get to. We don't want to lose the consistency of the family knit group that we have, and we don't recruit. The people that reach out to us, we probably hire 1 in every 30 that we meet with.
Somebody that wants to grow a team right now, what's your one piece of advice you give to somebody who wants to say, hey, you know what, I think I'm ready to start a team?
A lot of people want to grow a team because they want to get away from it and they want to just pour things on. There's a lot of coaching, there's a lot of babysitting, there's a lot of times where you have to come alongside people and help them to get to their next level, to see their potential, and it's not for the weak-hearted.
Is it harder today than it was 15 years ago when you were in real estate?
I have a database now of 70,000 people, so it's different, but I think the problems are different phases. The most underrated skill in real estate and probably in sales in general is listening. Most people have their scripts of what they need to say and how they need to say it, and they miss what the client is really asking for. I had a client reach out to me saying she wants to sell her home. She wasn't in this country. I also looked her up and I saw that there was a lot of fraud stuff that happens. I said, you know what? I'm gonna ride this until the wheels fall off and see what happens. There was liens on the property. I got contractors out there to fix the liens, listed the property, got everything signed digitally, and at the end of it, everything closed. I never met the client.
All right, so on today's episode of The Loan Lounge, I'm here with Damon Penn, eXp Real Estate. Damon and I have been in business together for just over 6 years now.
Yep.
And I have really seen our teams grow together pretty big. And I'm actually excited to hear your story because I actually don't know how you got into the real estate industry. And I'm excited to hear how you decided to go from a solo agent to a team. I know I was working with you when you bought your office, and I know that was a big transition. And I'm excited to hear all about that and, you know, give some people some pointers out there that are maybe solo agents thinking about becoming a team lead or buying their own team. So let's start out. How did you jump into this, man? How did you get into real estate?
So I was always in sales. I worked for Ralph Lauren. I did commercial pool sales for years. And anytime somebody wanted to buy a house or buy a car, they reached out to me and said, can you speak on my behalf? So I did it for a while, and then I realized I should start getting paid for that.
Yeah, that's so one thing that throws me right away is you said retail. That's probably one of the toughest jobs out there because my mom was in retail. And holidays, weekends, nights, it is not a grind. It is a major grind. It's nothing like, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have really done some prep work for you. You said restaurants too?
Did restaurants before that, and
People don't realize that is a tough gig.
Nights, overnights with Ralph Lauren. They did overnight floor moves, stuff like that. And it made me appreciate becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So it's funny, and I'll bring this up early, but you were on a panel for me a year and a half ago, and I mentioned this all the time to people. One thing that you said that stuck to me was scheduling. And people, you said, get into real estate to make their own schedule. And yet, you know what, they're doing their own schedule. And I can see why your schedule works well for you because you were already bred into working hard and really grinding in. Because some people get into real estate and think it's an easy job, that it's flexible, and it's really not. If you want to be successful, I would say you're working more than a regular 40-hour week.
Yeah. I mean, we meet with people all the time, and they let us know that they want to join because they're great with people or they want the flexibility of their schedule. And when you work for somebody else and you're more dedicated than when you work for yourself, it's just a lack of growth opportunity.
Wow. So you got out of retail, decided to get your real estate license. You were like, well, I'm helping people negotiate deals anyway. Mm-hmm. Where was your first job in real estate?
Coldwell Banker. I started out with them, and my broker there taught me a lot. And I actually interviewed with Coldwell Banker because I wanted to be a commercial agent. I didn't want the day-to-day. I wanted to have my weekends off, and I wanted to just do banking hours, and I thought commercial was the way to go. So I met with the broker there, said, I'm here for commercial. And she's like, you'd be a great residential agent. And I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. I went home that night. I got about 3 phone calls in the next few days about people that wanted to buy or sell a home. And I called her back and said, can we talk about that residential thing?
Wow, that's interesting. And then obviously you did well in residential enough to decide one day, hey, I'm going to become a team. How does that look? Like, when do you feel that you're ready? Like, hey, you know what? It's time for me to groom a team.
So after I left Coldwell Banker, I went to Keller Williams, and Keller Williams was all about the teams. Gary Keller had the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and just really showed us how to build a foundation. I started out, I had a ton of leads, and I wasn't able to get to all of them. So I started sharing business with agents in the office. which was good for a while, but then I realized that we weren't running a system. It was just random people, and there wasn't a standard that I could put my name behind. So dissolved that whole operation and put together a real team with an administrative assistant, grew with a couple of agents, and really started working as a system and giving the same service no matter who you got.
So you basically, inside of a Keller Williams, you were in there solely, you were giving out business. You're like, all right, you know what? I've got a lot of leads coming in. Let me start a system and structure. So you probably started seeing some higher conversions when you started that.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
We started to make sure that stuff wasn't slipping through the cracks. We started doing marketing. We started building relationships and making sure that we were getting our name out there, following up, having consistency in our brand, and that was really powerful.
So how many did you start with right off the bat?
I started out with like 4 or 5 agents, and I realized that I started wrong because I built with agents instead of starting with an administrative staff. So after we saw that that system wasn't working, we rebuilt and we brought in administrative assistant, and then she helped us to continue to hire and to grow the operation.
Yeah, that's a mistake that I learned too. Operations and is almost more important than sales up front. You can bring in a lot of salespeople, but if you don't have that, you'll go crazy. And they really need, it's really for the systems. It's crazy how much systems help. And that today things are a lot easier with all technology. When you did this, how long ago did you start your team?
We started back in about 2009, 2000.
So that things were a lot different in '09 than what they are today.
Correct.
Just, our CRMs are everything. It's just incredible. So now you started out with 4 to 5, and today you're just around 20 people.
Yeah.
So that's a big jump, man. What does that feel like? Like now you look back, did you think that was going to be where you wanted to go? Do you want to grow bigger than this? Like where do you feel now?
We've just, everything has happened organically and naturally. We didn't have a set number that we were looking to get to. We don't want to lose the consistency of the family knit group that we have. And we also don't want to lose quality that we're delivering to each of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So we just continue to grow, and we don't recruit. And the people that reach out to us, we probably hire 1 in every 30 that we meet with.
So it's got to be a certain mold to fit into your box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that also works too. I mean, I know a lot of your guys, I've hung out with them before, gone to some Panthers games. We go into your office, and you could tell it's like a little bit of a family style office where everybody seems to get along. They've got each other's back, which is, I would say it's probably a hard culture to build. Would you say that culture was built because of maybe some of the background from Keller Williams? Would you say it's from family? Where do you think that culture came from?
Well, it starts with our faith, just knowing that we're going to continue to treat people the way that we want to be treated. We're going to pour into the people that are in our organization. And a lot of teams are about themselves when we're about seeing people get to the next level and helping them accelerate.
I think that's a big message. Every corporation, big corporations, there's promotions from within, but you're still like, part of the corporation. There's really not that personable or caring situation. I'm pretty confident that I could say today that you probably know all about your guys' families, kids, wives, struggles, personal office struggles. And you're probably there not only just as their leader, but you're probably play a little bit of a counseling role at some points, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we get in there and we chop it up. We talk about personal stuff, family stuff, business, finances, life in general, and then of course a little bit of business as well.
And what's funny is like me being a leader as well. Sometimes I bounce some of my personal stuff off my guys because I need somebody to talk to.
Oh, that's definitely something that we do. I walk in there and I'm an open book, so I'm very transparent. I share what I'm going through, and a lot of times, people will speak into my life and help us, and then we do the same, reciprocate it.
So being that you started, back in '09, you've gone through the market cycles, right? You've gone through where we just went through, 10, 11, 12, the short sales, all that craziness. And then we had a pretty good buyer's market for, I'd say 5, 6 years, right? From like 14 to 20, pretty good buyer's market. Then COVID, which I call, from people, I'm like, man, it's like the dessert of all desserts. Like we really got to eat well during COVID. Now being COVID's over, it's been a few years now, right? We're going on 4 years since COVID pretty much slowed down 4 years. How do you make that shift to where people are just basically getting, I wouldn't say getting handed deals, but COVID was a lot easier than it is today. How do you keep your team positive and still continue to grow their business with that big of a shift? Because nobody ever would have saw what COVID brought.
Yeah, I mean, we had people that started during COVID, and they thought that was the norm, and they thought that deals were just going to come
What,
out of
about
it,
100 people at open house was normal?
and multiple offers, highest and best, and we just continued to take people back to where we came from, where we were in the short sales, we were in the good markets, we were in the tough markets, and then we made a great decision to partner with Place. And basically what we did when we joined Place is we brought an infrastructure to the team and new training to the team, where I was even retrained to say, okay, we are no longer in the 2021 stage. Now we're in the normal market where it's going to be buyers favored for a while, sellers favored at times, and you have to learn how to pivot in both markets.
Yeah, I think that, just from what I'm seeing, COVID kind of took us off of the phone.
Yeah.
I think it was so easy to get a client. Everybody was needing to buy. It was a lot easier. Basically, it was like a fire hose of leads. And now it's like, all right, it's a little different, right? Rates are higher. Sellers are not having as easy of a time as they were. Buyers are having the better time. The buyers that are buying today, I feel like, are getting an extraordinary deal. We're seeing a lot of seller credits. We're seeing negotiations happen that I feel like at COVID, there was never a chance. So I see buyers as doing better in this market. But I think the biggest shift is, the phone.
Yeah.
I feel like we all got away from CRM, using the phone, following that lead through, staying in contact, being top of mind. I've known myself, one of the biggest shifts I made for me was, social media. So I could stay top of mind in front of my agents. I always tell you, you guys are our clients. I want to be the best mortgage guy for you guys, because you guys are going to bring me the clients. I want to make sure we're making everything happen. So I think that's one of the big shifts that happened. And, the habits that you guys build around that are really tough. So like, they're needed. What do you feel like is one of the best things that you're building in your team habit wise? Because you have a lot of real estate agents under you. It's hard to, I know we build habits in our office. What are like some of the good habits that you're teaching your guys? Besides, obviously, I know you guys do a lot of open houses, which is huge.
Yeah. Open houses, making calls again. And one of the biggest challenges that I had when I got in the industry is you come in the office and you don't know exactly what to do. So you start going to the coffee machine, you start talking to other agents, and at the end of the day, you thought you accomplished a lot, but nothing really business-wise really happened. So with our new partnership, we have something called a day in the life. And basically you come in every single day, you know exactly who you need to call. If you go through that system, you call everybody you're supposed to call. It puts you in the position where you're not going to have clients that are ghosting you, that are buying and selling without you, because you're going to make sure that you're in consistent contact. And it's kind of a way to stay top of mind.
One thing I'm going to take from what you just said is consistent contact. I think consistency right now is the biggest thing that people are missing.
Yeah.
They try something and they try it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it's like, oh, the results aren't that great. It doesn't really work like that. Like this day in the life thing, I can imagine what you're doing is combing through your database. And obviously you're not going to see results in week 1 or week 2, but I guarantee you 90 days down the road, if you consistently do it, there's going to be results.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, and you're right. When you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, nobody tells you the workload. I can tell people like, oh, I had such an exhausting week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in the office with you. So I know what the exhausting weeks look like. Right. So, yeah, you might be here 9 hours that day, but how many hours were you actually working the 9 hours? Or were you talking to somebody about the weekend? Or did you go grab a cup of coffee? Or did you sit and have lunch with somebody? Or right. Or did you call because your Macy's bill had a mistake? Or you're upgrading your cell phone. I mean, people do personal things in the workday and then they get away from their work thing. That's a real tough one. Scheduling is huge. Are you guys big on time blocking? Is that one of the things with that?
Yeah, we're firm on if it's not on our schedule, it doesn't exist. So we make sure that.
Is it hard to get everybody on the same page with that? That's not an easy task. You got some people that have an old school mentality that don't want to work like that.
Yeah, we have our operations manager. He's very diligent in making sure that everybody's aware of what the next thing on the schedule looks like. Being consistent with the schedule to make sure that people know that it's recurring. And that's been very helpful.
So somebody that wants to grow a team right now, that's thinking about making that shift that you made, and you successfully made the shift, because I'm sure everybody has to fail sometimes, failing forward. What's your one piece of advice you'd give to somebody that wants to say, hey, you know what, I think I'm ready to start a team?
You have to know that the goal is that you're going to be helping other people and you're going to be walking alongside them. A lot of people want to grow a team because they want to get away from it and they want to just pour things on. And if you're not hands-on, we all know that when the boss is in, people work differently than when they're not. In all my corporate jobs that I had, it was like that. So I like to get in the trenches with my team, and we like to go and do the same things together and know that we are, growing it. So not everybody wants that job. There's a lot of coaching. There's a lot of babysitting. There's a lot of times where you have to come alongside people and help them to get to their next level, to see their potential. And it's not for the weak-hearted.
I think one of the biggest qualities that you have is you're producing team lead.
Yeah.
And I have the same thing. I produce as well. And when you produce, you kind of see what they're going through, so you can kind of coach those struggles as well. When you just kind of say, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, but you haven't closed the deal in 5 years, you're not really knowing what's happening in the trenches. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I like to be on the first line with my guys as well. And that's true. That's a really good statement. So obviously you've got partnerships, you've working relationships with title inspectors, appraisers, lenders. Why do you think that's important in what you do? Because I know that there's a thin line on relationships and then treating somebody like a vendor, right? Like, the way I look at it, it's like, I don't ever want to be treated as a vendor. I want to help your business grow. I mean, how have you found, obviously you're pretty loyal with all your partners and stuff. Have you found that that's been like a key to helping grow your business? Do you think it's necessary? Do you think it could be waived off? What do you think?
So yeah, when we first started, we didn't really have relationships and we didn't have consistency to know that if, we have a partner with a lender and we need to close a deal in 10 days or less, that's possible. We get calls on a regular, I specialize in listings on the team, and I get calls on a regular basis from a lender saying, hey man, I need 30 days. And as we're looking at that, if we didn't have the connections that we have, when we have an issue with title and we want to make sure there's no liens on the property, we can reach out to our title partners and they're going to be able to tell us what's going on. Our home inspectors, there's some home inspectors that their main focus is making sure the deal goes through. We want home inspectors that are actually going to look to see if there's a problem, to make sure that our clients are not going to have a problem later on.
Future.
And so knowing that we have partners that we can trust, I could send any one of my clients to anybody that we're partnered with, and I know that they're going to get treated properly.
And I think one of the biggest things with that being said, just like me, when I refer out a deal, I know if it's somewhere in your area, I'm referring it out. I know they're going to get that gold treatment. It's important because it's full circle. And for you guys as a real estate agent, you're the referral hub. So if something goes sideways, you're going to be the blame, not me.
Of course.
So if I make a mistake, and which thankfully we don't, but if I make a mistake, you're getting the blame. And then what happens to your relationship?
It's tainted. Yeah. So
it hurts. So the partnership thing, I feel like helps teams grow. I think, don't just jump into bed with somebody, right? I get approached all the time from teams. And it's funny. It's like, I'm like, how many lenders have you worked with? And they can name a dozen. I'm like, you're just chasing the new shiny penny.
yeah.
I'm looking for somebody that I can grow with. And, we invest in each other. I know, I come into my team comes into your office. We're growing together. We get to hear what's going on. We're doing open houses together. Those things really help grow. They grow both ways. Some people say, "Are you working an open house?" Yeah, I'll sit in an open house. We'll get a buyer lead from that. Where else am I going to work for 2 to 3 hours and find the buyer? And just sitting there and, learning about the house and building a relationship with that agent. But partnerships are huge. So yeah, I'm big on the vendor thing, vendor partnership. So, in this market, obviously we're turning now. I think we'd say we're still in a buyer's market. Let's just say rates come down or this tax bill happens. Let's say that tax bill happens or rates do drop quickly. I think the market will shift towards the seller side, I would assume. How do you prepare your team for that quick of a shift? Are they, obviously I'm sure they're trained for it, but if rates come down a point or if no taxes happen, that'll be incredible. What do you think about that?
So, the big thing with both of those is payment. Right now, what we're teaching everybody is let's focus on where you want to be payment wise. And where, the old saying, marry the house, date the rate. We're explaining to people that if you can find your home now while the sellers are still giving credits, and we can go ahead and get you that home, you can always refi later. If the tax bill goes away, that's only going to make you That's
Even
only going to make it
stronger.
even
Trust me,
stronger.
I'm waiting for my tax bill to go away.
And they're making all kinds of we're making all kinds of advances to make sure that each person is going to be able to have a lower payment, and the payment is really the key right now.
Yeah, payment does drive the bus, and people I think focus so much on the rate, and that's one of those things that we don't control.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much we focus on it. How are we gonna, what does that do? Nothing. So the payment thing is huge, and I think a lot of people are missing the bus. They think that it's really difficult to refinance. It's really not. And also, especially like if the rates do come down, sellers eventually go up in price, you're going to build equity instantly there because appreciation will happen. And I think also people don't realize like the average person has 11 mortgages in their lifetime, and it's for a reason. It's refinancing, it's upgrading. I know you recently just bought a property and you left what, a 3% mortgage or 2.5% mortgage to 6%, something like that.
I left at 3% to go to a 6.5%.
Yeah, because it was just the right move for your family at the time, and you know that eventually you're gonna date the rate.
Yeah.
But you married the house.
Yeah.
And I've been to your home. It's a beautiful home.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a nice place. So that's interesting. What would you say to buyers right now? What are they focusing too much on?
I think what we saw during COVID when interest rates got to 2 and 3%, a lot of people are saying, I'm just going to wait till that happens again. I've been in the business since 2007, and we have never seen numbers like that. We may never see those again in our lifetime. So again, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I bought a house at a 6.5% interest rate, and I believe that the payments are going to continue to go down, whether it's the rate or taxes. So I'm telling people, if you find a home and it fits your budget payment-wise, make that move and know that it's only going to get better from there.
I tell people that all the time because the mortgage, your principal and interest is a fixed number. It's not going anywhere. If anything, you're going to refinance to reduce it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I tell people, which still to this day, I'm like, how can you win this argument? I'm like, you're renting right now. So you're paying 100% interest, because when you turn in your keys, you'll be lucky if you get your security deposit back. And it's like you spent 2, 3, 4 years renting. Okay, yeah, maybe your rate's a little higher today, but at least you're paying down your mortgage. You're paying down a balance. You're paying towards something. Where, right now people that are renting, they're just renting, and you have no tax break. You've got no equity build, and it's not yours. And if you're renting from a private owner, how annoying is it when the private owner says, I'm going to sell now. Now you got to pack up and move. And I don't know about you, but I hate moving.
I don't like moving. And we also have situations where we see tenants living in a property and they have roof leaks, and they call that landlord, and the landlord said, I'll get to it when I get to it. They have situations where they hear rodents, stuff like that, where if it's your home, you get to make the decision of when it's time to do it.
I never even thought about that part of it. That part of it is pretty wild. Yeah. So if you have a roof leak or if your air conditioner is not working, which in Florida is detrimental in the heat in summer. I mean, imagine having to wait a week to get your AC fixed in 95-degree weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never even thought about that.
And for them, there's a margin that makes sense for them, where if it's my house and my AC goes out, I don't care if it's an emergency service call. They're coming out that night.
Oh yeah.
If it's the landlord, and today it's going to be $150 service call, but tomorrow it'll only be $35, then they can wait a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. And they're the ones that are going to suffer. So that's a great message for buyers. What about list sellers? I know that you're a big listing agent. You got some awesome properties that you're listing, and you guys do open houses. What's your message for a seller, especially if their house is sitting on the market for 2, 3, 4 weeks? What are you telling them?
It actually helps us a lot when we see properties sitting and we see people are hiring, because during COVID, like we were just talking about, where anybody could have been, had properties fall in their lap, they had clients fall in their lap. It was, a market where anybody could come list a home. But now those same people that were part-time agents are listing properties, and they're sitting and they're not selling, and their strategy to real estate. So when you look up who you're hiring, there's a difference between hiring somebody that sells, the average realtor sells between 8 and 10 homes a year, and we're closing between 100 and 150 homes a year. So it's a totally different scenario where
a lot more experience.
You have a full team of professionals working behind you. We have lender partners, we have title partners.
I mean, not to mention your cool videos for your listings, your photos. Like I was looking at a house the other day, and I was flipping through the pictures, and like they had a picture upside down. Like the porch was upside down. I'm like, oh, that's a cool one. It's a gravity room. Like, literally the furniture was up on the roof. I'm like, how can you load a listing like that? Yeah. And then if I was selling my house and it was a $900,000 house, if I was that owner, I'd be like, dude, fix this. And then they took it with their phone. So it's like, when I just recently sold, I hired an agent up in Lake Placid and very professional, and they came with drones and night shots and day shots. I mean, I don't even think all the pictures published before it sold because it was so nice. Fire pit light, night light, like it was beautiful. And I was like, man, that's how you market something. And I know that you guys have these really cool videos where you're like walking through the properties, and I don't know if it's AI or what it is, but it's great videos and it's great marketing.
Yeah, we have a great photographer that we're working with, and
Partner, not a vendor.
yep, a partner that's helping to grow our business. And a lot of people don't understand that if you want to set yourself apart, you have to spend money. A lot of people are very focused on, I could do it with my iPhone and save a couple of $100 versus doing a professional video, professional photos, aerial photography. Even if it's not a very high-end property, you're still going to be able to set yourself apart. If anybody ever comes to my website, I want them to see consistency, which is something we've talked about a few times already today.
Yeah, absolutely. Your website is definitely consistent. You can tell by all the photos. They all look mimicked. It's all very consistent. So I want to get into one big topic, which is AI and social media. That's like the topic of the probably the last 12 months. AI to me last year was probably not as a big of a topic till it is today. I mean, the AI blows my mind. We were just talking about how your AI, you can role play with it on one of your systems, which we just got that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's start with AI. Are you guys using that besides the role play? Any other services or anything else you're doing with AI?
So we're using AI for our photography as well, where, we just listed some high-end properties, working with sports and entertainment, stuff like that. We have furniture appearing in the room as the listing is happening.
I've seen that.
We've had people appear. We've had people on the basketball court show up. So all of that was AI generated. We continue to.
Yeah, I like that when it looks like the furniture moves in.
Yeah,
that was really awesome.
Yeah, so we do that. We do the AI call coaching where we practice our skills of what we should be saying to clients. We do that through AI generation. And then also 2 or 3 of our most recent listings, people went into ChatGPT, Gronk, any one of the
language models,
social media or AI bots, and basically went in there and said, who should I hire to sell my home? And they came back and called me and said, you were the one that they said.
I've heard that a couple of times from different agents. I didn't even know that it suggested people. And I just got suggested because of a YouTube video I did with another agent in the area, Suzanne. They found us online through ChatGPT because of that, which is crazy to me. So it's like social media. That's what I was going to talk about next. It's something that I made a huge commitment to. That's why this is here. In 2020, at the end of the year, I was like, that's it. I'm going to do it. Like, I have to get something going for social media. And I'm forcing myself to do this. Now it's fun. It was the first couple episodes, I was very nervous. We have social media day with our office. And, I've learned that social media for us, you probably, when you go on social media, there's probably not a day that you don't see something from Clear Choice Lending. No. Top of mind is such a big deal. And I feel like the more you're posting, the more active you are, the more YouTube videos you have, you start coming up. The AI bots find you, people find you. And it's crazy because I feel like I was a ghost last year. For you guys, social media this year, has there been a big change? Have you been moving? I know you were actually one of my inspirations to get a social media room. I saw yours and I was like, ooh, this is cool. Any changes this year? Anything you guys are trying to implement?
Yeah, we have our operations manager has a Calendly schedule where any agent can block out time with him on site or off site. And he's helping to grow their social media, helping to grow their presence, helping to grow the brand.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of that. Our photographer is amazing. If we do client appreciation events, I know we do an event where we shut down a neighborhood once a year. We have an ice cream truck come in and service all the people there, and we give out gifts to the families. And when we do something like that, the photographer's there capturing the experience and adding it to. So we're everywhere that we are, we're trying to explain what we're doing. We're at a lot of our coaching and partnership events between Place and between our EXP partnership. A lot of those places will make videos and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. And let me ask you, because I know it's a struggle for me. How hard is it to get your agents to do and post on social media?
I think that there are certain people that have, an itch for it, and there's certain people that it's you have to pull them along.
Yeah, I got pulled into a video with your guys on our way to one of our trips on the plane. Those 2 guys have some pretty funny videos. I told them, I'm like, man, they're the one. They railed me into that one. It was a great video we did. They've done one where I think we locked one of them in the trunk, got an open house.
Yeah.
That's really creative and fun. And you watch them and you're just like, oh, this is actually pretty. And they get some crazy views, thousands of views.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. I think social media, whether you like it or not, it's here. I don't know about you, but I don't really watch TV anymore in commercials. I don't really, if I am watching TV, I'm kind of like DVR or Netflix. I'm fast forwarding. Social media is like, everybody's on social media. If you ever go to like a public place, or if you're in public transportation, or you're sitting at a mall or wherever, people are on social media like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like the cheapest way to capture an audience. And since I started social media, I used to have only like 600 followers. I'm almost at 1,200 now, which is not a lot. I want to be in the thousands, but at least they're organic. I'm not buying my followers, right? I'm meeting people from watching our videos. So I noticed that like I'm in front of 1,200 people now that I wasn't in front of. I get to speak in front of them that's how I look at it. I get to speak in front of 1,200 people every day. And I feel like that's one of those things that's really helped us grow and, help get the business out there so that we can get more, I wouldn't say, stability, but just so the brand, and speaking of brand, so you're the Penn Team. Everybody knows you as the Penn Team. How did you come up with that brand, or how did you figure that this is important? Do you think brand is important to you guys?
Yeah, we had an assistant who was a graphic designer, and she helped come up with the names, the logos. And recently, when we joined Place and we bought our building and we kind of moved to a new system, we tried to change the logo. And as every step of the way, we just came back to, this is who we are. It speaks exactly, what we are. And the Penn Team, we've been in business since 2007, and thank God we're known for a team that runs with honesty and integrity and does it at a very high level.
So I'm going to ask you some questions since you've been in it so long, just to ask you, see what your thoughts are. Is it harder today than it was 15 years ago when you were in real estate?
It's different. So I wouldn't say it's hard. When I first got in, I didn't have a book of business. So I have a database now of 70,000 people. So out of those 70,000 people, they're all on market reports and listing alerts. So there's a good chance that somebody's going to want to transact, versus before I had to just come in the office and pray that my phone rang, or go try to get coffee somewhere and start talking real estate. So it's different, but I think the problems are with different phases.
So I'm going to close with this before we do our fast questions. But what does success mean to you? What does it mean? What is that?
Success to me right now is all of my agents outproducing me and everybody on my team hitting their goals.
It's a pretty selfless success.
Yeah.
Some people say you got to be selfish and then be selfless, but it sounds like you're very selfless. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm agree with you. I think that, if everybody's producing at a high level and doing well, the morale is normally pretty solid.
Yeah.
Longevity speaks for itself as well too. I think you've got some people on your team for a pretty long time, as I have, and I think that helps. I think if you help them build success, they stay.
Yeah.
All right, so these are just some quick questions that I want to see your answers to. So what's the biggest mistake an agent makes today?
Biggest mistake an agent makes today is chasing a commission instead of treating a client like a family member.
Dude, I swear to you, that was what I thought you were going to say. If I had closed captioning, you would have read that. I don't know why I thought that you were going to say that, because I was thinking, I'm like, what is the biggest mistake? Chasing the commission. That is 100%. People feel that.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're going to chase the commission, you're selling them a house that would maybe not be the right house for them, or maybe has a weird inspection or something, and you're just pushing it for that one closing. People feel it. Yeah. And I feel like at that point, when they feel it, they're never going to want to work with you again.
Yep.
All right. So what's the most underrated skill right now in real estate?
The most underrated skill in real estate, and probably in sales in general, is listening. Most people have their scripts of what they need to say and how they need to say it, and they miss what the client is really asking for.
Yeah. And I think also too, when you're listening, you become more authentic. Scripts are great, but I think authenticity really hits home. And I think that's how you become authentic, is by really listening, because there's no script for everybody's story. Everybody's got a different story.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a great one. All right. One thing you could tell agents to stop doing today.
If I could tell an agent to stop doing something today, it would be to come in the office and stay busy without time blocking to knowing exactly what they were doing and holding their hours accountable.
All right. Awesome. The biggest myth to you about real estate?
The biggest myth is, like we talked about earlier, is I'm going to have a free schedule and I'm great with people, so I'm going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a big myth. All right. And then the last one I'm going to ask you is just what's your craziest transaction story? We all have a crazy transaction. I'm sure in the 18, 20 years you've been doing this, since 2007, 22 years. Yeah. Well, what's your craziest transaction?
Craziest transaction was I had a client reach out to me saying she wants to sell her home. And I looked it up, everything lined up, and she wasn't in this country.
Okay.
I also looked her up and I saw that there was a lot of fraud stuff that happened. So I was like, this could be a scary transaction. I said, you know what? I'm going to ride this until the wheels fall off and see what happens. And we ended up that there was liens on the property. I got contractors out there to fix the liens. We continued to work towards it. I never met the client.
Really?
Listed the property, got everything signed digitally. And at the end of it, everything closed and it was a great transaction. But it was, there was some crazy stuff.
So never met?
Never met.
Wow.
Never met and took care of a lot of things.
I've never met people that we refi because everything's done virtually, but to sell a house, interesting.
And there was a lot of personalities to manage in the process, and neighbors were showing up, people were coming. It was a lot of stuff involved. So
craziest thing I've ever done. I had a purchase, and I haven't shared this one in a while. I went to the house and the husband it was a for sale from a judge. You know, you get the judge order, and the appraiser was there. And the appraiser calls me. I can't appraise this house. I go, why? He's like, the husband was standing outside with a garden hose and he was hosing me down as I was telling me to get off his property. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, I swear to you. And that was before video camera phones or anything. And I called him. I said, gentleman, I forgot his name now. I was like, Mr. Smith. He's like, I'm not letting him on my property, screaming at the top. I was like, all right, well, you have to talk to the judge because they're making you do this refinance. Crazy. I've never thought somebody would act like that and start hosing somebody down, but I guess you see it all. Well, listen, I really enjoyed this. I love, working with you. I think that working with our team and growing together has been great. We've had some great trips. We've had some great times at the office, some great celebrations. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing what comes in the end of this year. Can you believe it's already May? It blows my mind. And looking forward to next year and continuing to grow with you. I think we have the same visions aligned on what we do. So it's exciting stuff. And hopefully people that hear this get something out of it because there's a lot of good nuggets in this little episode that we did.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Thanks, Damon.
Yep.